So this marathon situation has been dominating the internet. Unfortunately, I have not had time to look into the story that much because I follow politics, movies, sports, video games, doing game live streams, all of that. This story, I've been trying to look into it, and I decided, why don't I just pull up a video instead of trying to pull up an article and read that. So this is a video. Bungie's marathon nightmare just got worse. Mint Blitz has this. I will link this video in the description below, but it's about 11 minutes long, so I figured it'd be pretty easy to get through, and we will react to this. So let's check it out. I've seen the memes. I've seen people showing the clips from the live stream where the developers are sitting there. That one guy looks like he literally wants to be anywhere but where he was at then. So let's jump into it. Here we go.
It's the story that just keeps on getting worse and worse. It's the Bungie marathon situation, and oh god, is it bad. Bungie responded officially yesterday, and I'll go through it again to catch you all up in a minute, but Bungie also did a live stream, and it was a train wreck. The live stream quality was rough. The audio wasn't in sync. Some Bungie developers' audio just straight up didn't work. There'd been long times of silence because other developers' audio wasn't coming through, and you'd have the other developers nodding in silence.
Reducing what's called like first sighted, which is like they look at you and they're like you, and then you know.
This is one of those situations where, look at this guy. Look at he wants to be anywhere but there. I talked about the Fortnite AI Darth Vader, and I'm like, how do you put yourself in this situation? How do you not know that this is what the internet's going to do? You give the internet the ability to manipulate the Darth Vader AI, and of course they're going to meme on it. If you, the developers of this game, the people behind this massive controversy, if you're going to go live on the internet, the chat is going to absolutely annihilate you. And they had no idea. And I think that this guy was reading the chat when this was all going on. It was so bad, the accusations of plagiarism. He just looked miserable. This guy just, man, you guys really stepped in it big time.
Reducing what's called like first sighted, which is like they look at you and they're like you, and then you know.
What you want, you could do so.
It was rough to watch. It was definitely not a AAA development livestream, way below par on what you would expect. There's really no excuse for it. Bungie said, yeah, look, we were going to show off stuff today, but we thought it wasn't the best idea. That doesn't mean the whole quality of the livestream goes down the toilet. In saying that, it got worse. The sound levels are really bad, the audio looped and it echoed. To be truthfully honest, the livestream should have been cancelled. Even the
Now, I have no business criticizing quality of a live stream, but I'm also not Bungie. So people that watch my live streams have come to expect bad quality, but you're Bungie. You've got all of this money, all of this backing. You want people to spend their hard-earned money on your product. And this guy's face is great. Like, I can't, he just looks so miserable. This is probably going to be memed forever. His face right there.
1,000-yard stare by Bungie's art director Joseph Cross said volumes. The man hadn't slept, the whole thing was incredibly hard to watch, everyone thought it was uncomfortable. And I gotta say, even the feedback itself, which I'll go into great detail in a minute, was vague, and it really gave me the feeling of, okay, you want this, we may add it, we might do this, at this point we have no solid plans and we need to investigate. It was very wishy-washy, and people were rightfully very annoyed. Now I am very, very, very balanced when I'm giving my feedback, but the vibe Bungie gave off yesterday was very much a, no, Marathon is going to be like this. Stop trying to change it away from what we want. Like they're going to make small concessions here or there, but the core identity of the game is rock solid and they will not be changing it. It very much sits in line of when Bungie said Marathon isn't for everybody. If you're a fan of Halo, Call of Duty, Destiny, any first-person shooter, there's a chance you won't enjoy it. Now, as
why don't you just say, don't you guys have phones? I mean, what are we doing here? Don't you guys have phones? These developers are so stuck up their own asses, and this is why they continue to screw up every single time, because they are not in tune with what gamers want. They think that they are better than you, and they don't have to answer to you. And the fact that you're questioning them offends them. It pisses them off. That's how they view you.
As I said, there were small concessions in regards to balancing and overall match flow, but it really felt like so much was set in stone, and what was even more concerning was that everybody, after the alpha and after they saw gameplay, had legitimate questions. They had legitimate concerns. And just over 5 months until launch, Bungie has so much that is still undecided. Needs to be.
And I'll bring up something I've talked about many times when you have these alphas or these betas or these testing. I'm a huge fan of the Titanfall franchise. I don't want to talk about the fact that Titanfall 2 was, dead and failed, and we're never getting a Titanfall 3 probably. That's neither here nor there. But the point is I've talked about this many times. I was a huge fan of the first Titanfall. I loved it. I bought an Xbox One for that game, and I played it until it was just dead. And, of course, the anticipation for Titanfall 2, and then the beta, I think it was the beta, came out for Titanfall 2, and the beta was terrible. I don't know how many people remember this. I know there's some hardcore Titanfall fans that may remember this, but when the beta for Titanfall 2 came out, they basically stripped everything away from Titanfall 2 that made Titanfall 1 so great. It literally felt like Call of Duty with mechs, which is something that a lot of people criticize Titanfall for, and they say that it's just Call of Duty with mechs. You're an absolute retard if you think that, because that's never what Titanfall was. But it felt like they stripped all of that away from Titanfall 2 in the beta, and everyone hated it. It was terrible. It was awful. And I personally was kind of like, Titanfall's dead. It's never, this is no more. The game came out. I had some friends call me and says, hey, man, have you got Titanfall 2? I was like, no, it sucks. They're like, dude, it's fixed. I'm like, there's no way that they fixed Titanfall from a few months ago to now. There's no way. They did. When you listen to the feedback from your audience and you take that into consideration, the people that want to play your video game, when you listen to that and you take that seriously, great things can happen. Now, sadly, Titanfall 2 still undersold, but that's more of an EA problem and how they sandwiched it in between Battlefield and Call of Duty. I'm not going to go off on a tangent like that, but the point is when you listen to your audience, good things can happen.
Investigated or just straight up isn't happening. Like if you take out the art style thing, which I'll cover in a second, people had concerns about Marathon. Maybe I'm picking up on the vibe of the stress the developers have been going through the last 24 hours, but that's even more of a reason to postpone that live stream. Give another statement on what's being done further, and then reconvene in a week with a proper presentation, as today, honestly, that live stream did far more harm than good. A lot of questions were asked by people, and personally, I didn't feel listened to. Now, I've wanted Marathon to succeed from day one. My first review of the game, I was very balanced. I outlined what I didn't like, what I did like, and then I awaited for Bungie to give feedback. At this current point in time, it feels like the players versus the developers, not both groups of people working
not a good
together.
situation to be in.
Marathon and the wider gaming audience seems to have a distinct vision as to what they'd like to see with the game. Mainly, I'd say because Destiny and Halo players specifically want to play Marathon, but Marathon isn't designed for those players. So you get this huge conflict of ideas, which is what I think I'm sensing between people giving feedback and the developers.
Who is it made for then? That's the question. Who is this game made for?
Extraction shooter players prefer Arc Raiders over Marathon, so who is it really for? It's funny because I did this video script and then I left it overnight as I thought more information would come out, and I was right. The new information says that Bungie leadership reportedly ignored Marathon developers' warnings for years about what would and wouldn't work, along with their request to add a PvE component to the game. So I was right on the money, exactly what I just said. Not only do the players and day-to-day developers know what it's going to take for the game to succeed, the executives, yet again, refuse to properly implement feedback and deviate from their vision.
This is a complete disaster. So I've heard everyone talking about this, and I knew it was bad, but now that you see, and again, that live stream is kind of the center of all of this. It gave everyone that's been frustrated about this game like a central place and a couple of faces so that they could direct all of their anger and hate. People were never going to listen to what you had to say during that live stream. And the fact that you thought that they were speaks volumes. They were never going to listen to you.
What I'm going to say is do so at your own peril, because the reviews are mixed to negative now, especially after the whole plagiarism debacle. Oh, it's not going to be good if they don't change stuff. The other information is that the planned rollout of the game has also changed. Instead of it going alpha, beta, and then full release, Bungie has reportedly scrapped its original June marketing plans. So that included a new trailer and pre-orders for Marathon. The open beta in August may also shift to a roadmap of public playtests instead. This also came with a quote that said morale at the studio is in freefall. Things really aren't looking good for this game. So with all of that covered, let's talk art, let's talk live stream, let's break down the details. First of all, the live stream itself was cancelled twice because one developer couldn't make it. That set the tone even before the plagiarized art went viral, and a lot of people weren't happy it was repeatedly cancelled. This project, Marathon, I would say would almost cost about $100 million to develop at this point. It's Bungie, it's owned by Sony, and the live stream quality we saw was not up to par with that. To start, Joseph Cross, art director at the studio, the one who followed the artist who had her content stolen for years, did a longer statement, which reiterated that Bungie is sorry, it's unacceptable, they've reached out to Anti-Real and are scrubbing all assets that were stolen. For all of the stuff that is removed, it'll be redone in-house, but frankly, the damage is done, especially with the wider gaming audience. The reason why the damage is done is because this is the 4th or the 5th time in 5 years this has happened. Once is an accident, twice I could believe as well, but 5 times? That's a systemic problem that developers feel as though they can get away with stealing.
I would like to say, we're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry.
Now, apparently the plagiarism happened at an early stage during 2020, but I'm struggling to have any sympathy when the blame has been put on anonymous employee for.
Is this going to be a Concord? Is this going to be another Concord? Because that's what it feels like right now. I mean, when it rains, it pours in this situation, and you have people involved that don't understand the internet. Understanding the internet is very crucial in this situation. And let me tell you, to the people involved here, the internet will never, ever forgive you for this. And the more you try to justify and explain, the more that you talk down and dismiss, the worse it's going to get. You will not defeat the internet. And that's one of the things that a lot of these companies don't truly understand. You're not going to beat the internet. The internet is undefeated for a reason, and it's never going to be defeated. You cannot beat the internet.
Or 72, who apparently no longer works at the studio. I don't mean to be brutal about this, but nobody's buying that the art director himself didn't know about this, especially when he followed the damn artist. The Twitch chat, well, they reflected this, and they didn't hold back. Bungie did try silence players by putting a "you must be following for 1 month" rule to talk in the chat. That didn't work. During the
Yes! Holy shit, that's amazing. So they tried to put the cooldown in and it still didn't work.
The art director himself didn't know about this, especially when he followed the damn artist. The Twitch chat, well, they reflected this, and they didn't hold back. Bungie did try silence players by putting a "you must be following for 1 month" rule to talk in the chat. That didn't work. During the Q&A section of the livestream, players asked Bungie whether they'd hire Anti-Real, and they said yes, they are open to that. I guess ultimately it's up to Fern, the person who had their content stolen, to decide what she wants out of this. She could have a game dev career and work at Bungie. She could continue as a freelance artist. She could sue Bungie. The choice is hers. Now, Bungie went through a number of things on stream relating to Marathon, and yes, they addressed many concerns people said, kind of, but at this point, it feels very little too late. And I'm not just personally saying this. I searched social media today, I looked at public opinion, I really did my due diligence and research in regards to this video because I wanted to see how things were being perceived by the wider gaming audience. And this whole debacle might be the stake through the heart of Marathon, and I don't say that lightly. Of course I want the game to succeed, and of course I want players' feedback to be listened to, but there is so much to be done in 5 months. I just don't see how that's going to happen. There was already a lot of contention about Marathon versus Arc Raiders, and even before that, because of Bungie's past behavior, people were very skeptical about Marathon as a whole. I really gave them the benefit of the doubt for quite a long time, and yes, I'll probably do one video about the open beta if it happens, and then one video for the full release, just like a review style video. In saying that, it really might be dead on arrival at this point. In terms of actual things Bungie said in the live,
I don't see any scenario where this game can do anything other than fail. because you have people involved that do not respect the audience, which is one thing when you're putting out a really good product and you don't have a ton of controversy surrounding it. You have completely stepped in it. And now that you've stepped in it and people are frustrated, you've now decided to show them you've given them faces to direct all of this anger towards. And it was a complete and total shit show. It was embarrassing. It was hard to watch, is what a lot of people have said, this video included. I just don't see a scenario where where this game is successful, because people are angry, people are frustrated, and you have only made that worse every step of the way. The internet is a wonderful place if you understand how it operates. But the moment that you decide that you're smarter than the internet is the moment you have fucked up completely. And this is where we are right now.
Live stream for gameplay changes based on you guys, the people watching this video. I'll list everything very quickly. Bungie said during the alpha there was lots of solo players, and a lot of solo players searching without teammates. 5 months out from launch and they still haven't even investigated a solo duo player option. That's too slow. They needed to come out and say yes, solo queue and duo queue is planned. It will be coming to the game at some point. If a certain class is too overpowered, all Bungie has to do is limit certain characters to protect balancing, rework the spawn points for new team sizes, and then test it in one of the playtests. They didn't say that, annoyed a lot of people, and frankly, it's not good enough. Now, long-time watchers of the channel might be like, wow, Romy, you're actually getting really fired up about this. Why is that? Because I know for a fact there's been people who have been testing Marathon for 2, 3, even 4 years at this point. They said 2 years ago to put a solo or duo queue option into Marathon, and they ignored the feedback again and again and again. And then we get to this playtest where actually like 10,000 or 20,000 people get to play it. And what's the number one thing that happens? People want to play solo. People want to play solo without 2 other people. And then what do you hear in the live stream? Oh, well, we still need to look at it. Maybe maybe it's gonna happen. We've got to investigate it. It literally goes right back to the executive saying, no, Marathon's gonna be like this. We don't want it like that. And they're shooting themselves in the foot by doing so. Moving on from that, they're making changes to how enemies perceive the player. They're also making changes so a player with very basic gear should be able to outplay someone with very good gear, but I'll believe that when I see that. They are...
You don't have to, just because you're telling the audience that you're going to listen to them doesn't mean you have to do literally everything they say. But it shows good faith. It shows that, hey, guys, we want your feedback. And we want to see how we can apply some of this feedback moving forward. It doesn't mean you have to do everything that people say. But within that feedback, there is some things that you can utilize. I've never understood this about companies and why they dismiss the feedback of the people that are interested in their product. It makes no sense. I've never understood that. But again, you're talking about a very elitist mentality of people that look down upon fans and look down upon people that get on the internet and voice their opinions. Of course, the internet is full of people that are just going to bitch to bitch. That's what the internet's for. But if there are people that are interested enough in your product to bitch about it, that means that they have a level of interest that you should focus on and take that seriously.
Are making changes to the weather, especially hazardous weather, and the longer you're in a session, the less safe you're going to be. The alpha build was missing more than half the weapons and was only a slice of the game. Proximity voice chat, a very contentious issue. They spoke about it, but have no real solution. They're still trying to figure out how they can implement it in their way specifically for Marathon. Again, too slow. Instead of outright saying yes, we'll add it, the language did not inspire confidence. What Bungie said was we need to look at how we're going to add it for our game. The chat collectively groaned when they said that. In terms of customization, we actually got a little bit. It was carefully worded and the word skins was used, but the art director did mention fashion game. So maybe players will get proper Halo style customization, so each body part will be customizable. We will see. As a side note, weapons will also have customization.
Jesus.
The only definitive positive that I liked out of this whole thing was that if you're bleeding and you enter water, it will actually leave a trail so players can follow that. The only other thing they mentioned, which people have been speaking about, is that the visuals will improve in time. We expected that, it's an alpha, I'm not going to judge visuals until the full release. They also want players to have more agency, so in saying that, if you affect the world around you will push back harder. More or less they said the AI don't want you there, and
I mean, I unfortunately for them, or fortunate, I don't know how you look at it. Unfortunately, the game does look like it has some interesting aspects to it and some interesting gameplay. But sadly, it doesn't really matter. I really don't think that this matters based on the level of anger I am seeing from across the internet. I don't think that it matters if this game is even good or not, because the negativity is so overwhelming that, and the way that they're treating people and treating the feedback, I just don't see that it's going to be helpful.
they'll go to greater lengths to shut you down. There's also going to be a rework to the revive mechanic, but on the whole, Bungie spoke a lot about players wanting to have a story. Not a narrative story, don't get that twisted, but a story from playing the game. So you drop in, you loot, you fight, you might have a clutch extraction, and then you get out in the nick of time. In response to that, Twitch said, plagiarism will make you God. So that kind of sums up how the livestream went. Again, my top piece of feedback, solo and duo queue is a must. And there you have it. That's everything you need to know about Marathon's latest information, if you even want to call it that. The game could very well be dead on arrival unless major changes are made, but with public perception being so negative now, it may not matter at this point. Time will tell, honestly. The best thing I can do is give you guys all of the information. You can make up your own mind, but people are pretty checked out on this game. The live stream should have been postponed, as it did so much more harm than good. The quality was horrible. I also gotta say, can you guys imagine if Bungie gets caught stealing art again after this? They literally said they're going to go through all of their content to make sure this doesn't happen again, but they've said that 4 times before. So what's the saying? Fool me 5 times, shame on me. A lot of people understandably will not be giving Bungie another chance. So thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Big Halo video out soon, and then a Doom the Dark Ages video. But until then, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.
Well, that was a good video. Mint Blitz, if you guys are interested. And he mentioned Doom the Dark Ages. I'm actually playing Doom the Dark Ages right now. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's as good as Doom Eternal, but I really think it's pretty good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's Doom, you know, just, you know, ripping and tearing demons from hell. It's pretty awesome. So I am enjoying it. I'm about halfway through probably. And so if you're interested, yeah, this is, man, where's the live stream where it showed the all the comments? Because that was that's my favorite part of this whole thing, is just the comments of the live stream and the plagiarism and all of that. I just don't know what these guys expected was going to happen, but clearly it didn't go the way that they expected. We will continue to check out this story. I'll try to, you know, watch some more videos on it and things like that. This video and this channel will be linked in the description below. So if you're interested in checking him out, definitely do that. Make sure you drop a like on his video. I always try to show some respect to people that I have reacted to. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.